we're going. I guess we should wait for a few people. I don't want to completely start before people have come on. So, nobody yet. The waiting part is always so awkward.
Yeah.
We're live.
You are live? Okay.
Oh, look, there are two people. Hello. All right, so at least there's someone here, and I don't feel too silly starting. So, hello, welcome back to another Facebook Live here in the Wilson County News office. It's Friday at 11:30 a.m. and I hope everybody is doing well, and I would just like to thank everybody that's tuning in. I'm not personally looking through the comments, but I'm sure there are some. So whoever says hi, I'm going to tell you hi now. So, a lot has happened this week with new rules, new things that we need to be following to promote our public health and safety, but not everything is COVID-19 related. So I don't know if you've read our newspaper this week, but on the front page, we actually ran a story about the arrest of a bomb maker, which is kind of drastic. So that was very interesting. The whole article is continued throughout section A. Are there more people?
I'm saying talk to you.
Oh, yeah. We also had a story about the recent gas pipeline explosion. You may have heard some of these rumblings throughout the thunder. Pretty interesting that it was during a storm because it was hard to differentiate, but a lot of people were pretty shaken up by that, pun intended. We also had a very nice story in our South Texas Living section about Irv Williams. So this just goes to show that things are still happening in our community. Not all of it is COVID-19 related, and the world is still going on. So this is just a nice reminder, even from other people who may not notice in the message, but we just keep on living. And we're kind of in this together. Actually, we do stand together, and I'd like to thank all of the advertisers that put their ads in that beautiful section of our newspaper. In section A, if you open it up, it is a 2-page, full page. We stand together. There's some nice COVID-19 information in there for you, some tips, some health information. So I'd also like to thank Aiden Rivera. He sent us a nice article about missing his friends. So anybody else out there who'd like to share their opinions, their feelings, information with us, we'd love to see it. We'd love to run it, including letters to the editor. We had quite a few more of those that were interesting this week. They're always interesting to look at. So thank you for those of you that sent us some information. Also, recently we had a blood drive, a Floresville community blood drive on April 15th. And I just wanted to point out that now more than ever, we're needing blood. Hospitals are running low on certain blood types, as you could probably guess. So anybody out there who has recently donated, who donated on the 15th, or who will donate in the near future, thank you so much. Just, I'm speaking for the whole community here. We appreciate you and stepping up to save lives. So, speaking of everything that's been going on, I'd like to introduce Ms. Nanette Kilby-Smith and Councilwoman Marissa Ximenez. They're going to tell you some very information.
So hi, and thanks for joining us today. And you'll notice our lovely fashionable new attire, and Marissa here is going to explain a little bit about what we're wearing and why. And I'm going to remove this one and show you some alternate headgear too while we do this. So Marissa Ximenez, you're a councilman on the Floresville City Council, and last night was pretty groundbreaking for the city of Floresville.
Yes, we amended the declaration that has been in place since March. We've been meeting weekly to look at updates to the declaration to see if there was anything else that we need to do for our city. Everything that we had been looking at is information we've received from different entities. We've been working very closely with our city manager and our city attorney on looking at our declaration every week. And so last night was the first time we actually amended the declaration. We had been extending it week by week since March. None of the information had changed in it, including the fines and things like that. I saw that a lot of people were concerned about that, but that information has been the same since day one when the mayor put the declaration in place. And so last night we did add two new additions to it, which are the face coverings and self-quarantine if you have been exposed to someone that has COVID-19.
Okay, so let's clarify what is required under this. So it doesn't have to necessarily be a surgical looking face mask like you're wearing now. It could be a scarf like
Yes,
this
ma'am.
one.
Yes, ma'am.
Bandana. What
Bandana.
else?
It could be a t-shirt. You can use any type of cloth that is able to cover the nose and the mouth.
Okay. Now, does everybody have to wear these? What are the specifications?
So it's 3 years and older, and you have to wear it if you leave your dwelling. If you're in a business parking lot, if you go to pump gas, some people have said, well, I'm just pumping gas. You could be close to somebody if someone is on the other side of the pump and you're not able to socially distance. It's for when you are unable to socially distance if you're in a convenience store, a pharmacy, and things like that.
Okay. What about things like daycares or other essential businesses?
So daycares do fall under the essential business that the governor has talked about. So they are required to follow the governor's orders, but for the city, they are still required to follow the orders of the sanitation. Employees and children are not required to wear the masks inside of that facility as they are there attending as they are normally do. But if another person were to go into the facility, you know, it would be up to the business to let them know that they require them to wear masks.
Okay. And if you're inside an essential business, say that you actually work there, do you have to wear the mask inside the business if you're not encountering the public?
That would be up to the business owner.
Mm-hmm.
If you're unable to socially distance within your facility, you know, it is highly recommended, you know, that you try to use other means such as a face covering.
Mm-hmm. So if you work in close quarters, it would be advisable to wear a mask. If you don't and you can maintain a safe distance, it's not absolutely necessary.
Right, and that's within your business as a business owner.
Okay, but encountering members of the public?
Yes. So if I were to come into your business, I would need to have my face covered.
Okay, and the person serving you would need to be?
Yes.
Okay. And let's talk about, we've had a number of queries from members of the public. What if I don't live in Floresville, but I cycle into Floresville on a regular basis for exercise? If they're exercising out in public?
It doesn't, you're not required if you're exercising, you know, maintaining that social distance. If you're outside with your children going for a walk, you're not required to wear a mask.
Okay, so if you're with your children, do you all have to wear masks, or you just need to maintain a safe social distance?
If you're going into a business, you would need to wear masks.
But if you're just walking down your street around the neighborhood, not necessarily so?
Correct.
Provided you don't enter somebody else's home, or
Correct.
you maintain a safe social distance with everybody else?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, those are the kind of questions that we're getting. So since we're maintaining a social distance, I'm going to remove this just for the purposes of the rest of our conversation here. So there's another thing that we were very excited about sharing, and part of the reason that we invited you on today is that we've got a special event coming up, and because of the timing of it, this was not something we were able to share in the newspaper. Otherwise, you know, it would have actually made quite prominent space.
Yes.
But the San Antonio Food Bank is making a particular event available, and tell us when that is and what this is.
Yes, so we're very excited. The San Antonio Food Bank is partnering with us, the county, and our local pantries to provide a food drive on Wednesday, April 22nd. And this is, you know, something that the food bank has called us and said we want to specifically come out and help Wilson County and the residents of Floresville. And so we are working with county officials as well. And so this is for our low-income families. So those that do qualify as low income, we do, you know, recommend that you come to the event center. This is going to take place from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So people can come pick up food from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Now, what kind of things will they be able to collect? Do you know? I mean, is it going to be a pre-made box of staples and that kind of thing?
Right.
So it'll be prepared boxes or baskets
Yes,
of
ma'am. Yes,
food
ma'am.
products and necessities.
Yes, and then, so it's gonna be those basic necessities that you would like to see in every household.
Okay. Do people that are attending it, will they have to provide an income means of some kind or an address? What do they have to bring with
So
them?
we will have applications there to fill out with your information. And so you would just have to fill that out and it will go on file with the San Antonio Food Bank and then we'll be able to distribute your food to you.
Okay, and we know that the San Antonio Food Bank has been coordinating this effort, not just with the city for the event venue, but also with local organizations that already provide such services, like the Floresville Food Pantry, the St. Vincent de Paul Ministry here in Floresville, some other community organizations that already help provide for people in need. But this is a wider scope due to the pandemic and due to like the current impact. So people that might be out of work or
Yes,
might
ma'am.
already have been kind of a little bit in difficult situation,
Right.
but might find themselves, okay, now that they either can't work or have limited hours, that they're finding it a little bit more difficult to provide for their families.
Yes, ma'am. And, you know, we wanted to open this up to everyone in the county. And so, you know, we're gonna have about 500, plates per se. I'm not gonna say they're plates, but 500, we'll be able to feed 500, families that day. And I also want to remind everyone that the Floresville Food Pantry will be open the following day on Thursday, per usual. So they will also be another resource if you are unable to make it out on Wednesday.
Excellent. And again, this is Wednesday, April 22nd.
Yes.
At the Floresville Event Center?
Yes, ma'am.
And the time again?
10 a.m. to 1 p.m. If you would like to help, we are going to need help. If anybody would like to volunteer, we ask that you arrive at the event center on Wednesday at 7:45 in the morning for a briefing. Please bring your mask and gloves with you, and we welcome any and all that want to come and lend a hand.
Okay, and they'll be briefed about how to conduct the distribution,
Yes,
how
ma'am.
they will encounter people.
Yes, ma'am.
And you'll be having folks that can help and assist with the filling out of the required forms.
Yes, ma'am.
Will there be provisions made for bilingual or otherwise?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so these are all good things to note about this particular event.
Yes.
Is there anything else coming up in the city or the county that you're aware of that, other than like the Floresville Food Pantry, any other events that might be in the offering, other blood drives, anything that you're aware of?
Right now, that this is what we have immediately planned. We are looking at anything else that people may need. We have people that do call in and ask questions about where to go get specific items, and so we just direct them to the resources that we have available within the city and the county. But as of right now, this is the only event that we have planned within this month. We do meet weekly as a council, you know, to go over any updates with the virus. So at that time, you know, we can discuss the need for the city and plan accordingly.
Now, does the city council doesn't usually meet weekly? Usually it's bi-weekly. Is the weekly thing a recent
Yes,
change?
and it's strictly because of the COVID-19 situation.
Okay. And that'll continue, and let's remind folks with the face mask and with the emergency declaration, how long does this go on for?
Right now, we have it indefinitely. We were talking about, you know, the governor has his orders until the 30th. We will be meeting again on the 23rd, so if we have to make a change to that and give another date, we will.
Okay. So the Floresville's is indefinite. It's kind of until revoked.
Right.
But, okay, so it continues for as long as the situation demands. There are other declarations within the county. The various cities, Cove, Stockdale, Livonia have their own declarations, as does the county. And those have different dates, so be aware of where you live. It might not be an indefinite one, but if you work or conduct business or anything in the city of Floresville, it's useful to know what's going on and what the restrictions might be. So do check where you live for those current ones. I can truly speak in Livonia. I know last night extended their declaration through the end of the month to coincide with the governor's, but other cities, other communities have some different declarations, and their periods of time are slightly different. So be aware of the ones in your area and how that affects you. And some of them may or may not affect how you conduct yourself in public too. So we'll be communicating that as much as possible and as clearly as possible, not just via the website, but via the print issue of the Wilson County News to make sure that you stay up to date with all of these. And we're going to go back to something that Julia mentioned about donating blood, is that there is a constant need. It's not just in the present pandemic, but it's further impacted by the current situation in that we are not congregating. So because there's not blood drives happening at schools or at churches or different organizations that would ordinarily host them, that the need is greater now because we're not seeing that public participation that we would ordinarily. So if you can donate blood, we strongly urge that you do so, and arrangements can be found at the South Texas Blood and Tissue Center website about where there might be public opportunities to do so, or how you can make an appointment for visiting the site. They do have places where you can go where social distancing and appropriate measures are being taken to protect the health of donors and the staff that are doing the donation. So do be aware of those things and do contribute when and where you can. Also, our local food pantries, Floresville isn't the only one. There are other communities. Lavernia has a Ministerial Alliance food pantry. Stockdale has a food distribution also. There's one in Sutherland Springs. There's a food organization in Poth as well. Do, if you can, contribute to those, because now the need is very great for a number of people. Monetary donations are very welcomed, because that way they can go and shop for the things that they haven't had contributed. And there might be a greater need for some things in the present situation that isn't what they would ordinarily need. So those are ways that we can all help, and good places to actually look and see if there is a need. And also, if you are in need, those are places to actually check out. If it's not food that you need, there would be other information available by most of these organizations to help.
Absolutely, and I think it's important that, you know, considering the upcoming event that we have, a lot of people don't have Facebook or get online, so we can just, you know, share the word within our community of upcoming events. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. If you're going for a walk, say, hey, by the way, did you hear that?
And watch the newspaper, and if your neighbor gets the paper and you don't, you know, check the newspaper. But we're here, it's available. We have curbside service. You can call. There's lots of ways to make that available, and we are trying to keep you as current as we can with as much information. Now, the other thing is, this is a very fluid situation. We have had cases in the local veterans home, which I know a lot of people in the community are aware of and worried about, but the county itself has not seen an increase in cases in public in the last few days. So that's encouraging news. So as has been said in a number of venues, the things that we are doing by social distancing, by staying home, by protecting ourselves in public, those measures are working. So continue to keep up the good work, everybody. And what else can we share? Is that pretty much
That's pretty much it. You know, we're all in this together. You know, day by day, we get, you know, news, upcoming news. We hear about something different happening. But I do like the intro that you had. You know, there are other things that are going on in our community. We still have businesses that are flourishing. We still have businesses that want to come to the community. You know, there's other things that we can focus on. People are actually, you know, sharing their lives with us online, showing the neat things they're doing at home, showing things they're discovering with their children at home. And those are the kinds of things that we need to focus on as well. A lot of people are just really consumed with all of the news and what's happening with the current situation, but we can't forget that we have a lot going on in our community, and a lot of people have a lot to contribute to our community. And I just want to thank the Wilson County News. I mean, y'all have been great with keeping up with the updates on all different kinds of platforms, and any information that you offer, I mean, you're readily available to the public, and I just want to thank you for that as well.
Well, thank you, and we appreciate the great cooperation that we have with all the entities. We're all in this together.
Absolutely.
That's one thing that we do want to remind you of. This isn't, you know, it's not a Floresville thing, it's not a Poth thing, it's not a San Antonio thing. It's affecting all of us across the country, around the world, but we are all in this together. We're here with you, we're here for you, and we are very receptive. So if you have news to share, if you have an update, if you have an event, a blood drive, a food drive, anything like that, we can help communicate that. And we do actually want to share, since we did mention the blood drive, that we've heard from Liz Morales, the donor recruitment consultant at the South Texas Blood and Tissue Center, that this past week's blood drive collected 89 units. That's phenomenal.
Great.
Which means you, in our community, saved 267 lives.
Wow.
Way to go, Wilson County. Good job, everybody. And we want to thank everybody who's watching. I'm going to mention a few names here. So Denise Beasley, thank you for joining us. Sherry May, Sherry Pomeroy, Sam Carter, appreciate it. Valerie Compost, hi, thank you for joining us. Karen Sells, Craig McDowell, June Chowko, thank you very much. She's an author that we hosted at our author signing at Christmas time. If you're looking for something to do during your, stay at home, we've got a bunch of great books that we have and great authors. So check us out and check June out. Carmen Merrow, Holly Smith, thank you for joining us. Robert Gregory, Lavernia Mayer, thank you for chiming in over here. Travis, thank you. I hope the sound quality has improved since you joined us. Liz Galindo, Jana Friesenhahn, Lila Galindo, Lois Wasson, thank you very much, and know that we miss you and we miss your column. Katrina Johnson, Karen Pike, City Manager Henrietta Turner, thank you for joining us. And Lisa Lucio, Jimmy Rangel, thank you so much. We appreciate the gift of your time this morning. We hope that we've been able to share some good, constructive information that you find useful. Do let us know what you'd like to hear. Let us know how we can help. And if you have a way of helping or some good ideas about how to make this an easier time to get through, we'd love to hear from you. If you have any great ideas for inspiring stories to share, and we know there's a lot of them at this time. There's a lot of people doing great things. We've been able to share folks in the community that are making the face masks, not for sale, some of them. Some of them are actually just making them to actually help out their friends and neighbors, their coworkers. So there's a lot of great things going on. We're seeing people step up and do wonderful things, and that's an inspiring thing to me in the present situation, is that folks are not being selfish, they're being selfless, and we appreciate
That's
it.
Floresville, right? That's our community.
That's our whole community,
That's our
the whole county. We see that every time that we have a situation, our people step up and contribute and help out. So thank you.
And that makes me very proud of our community.
Absolutely, we've got a lot to be thankful for.
Yes, ma'am, we do.
So with that, I think that's about all we've got to share today. Julia, was there anything else that we were hoping to share with our community before we sign off for this week?
Not that I can remember, other
Come
than
on, join us. I'll back up this way, and then you.
I just want to again thank everybody who is watching. We have some questions about whether or not the city is going to be handing out flyers.
Oh yes, thank you. That's a very good question. We have distributed flyers out at the local pantry and throughout different areas of the community.
All right, thank you very much for that. I hope that answered your question. I believe that's all we had today, so I would just again like to say thank you for watching. Make sure you tune in again next time. It'll be Friday at 11:30 a.m.
Same time, same channel next week.
Yes. Stay safe.
Have
stay
a
well.
great weekend. Stay
Bye.
safe, everybody.
Bye.